Emil Mabata here, aka E2 Engineer 1, coming at you from the engine room, and this is the Enterprise engine. Yeah, well, I've had a busy week, varied, but momentum is being achieved, and interesting thing, I coined a new hashtag this week for Twitter and use on social. Socio Eco In. Capital S, capital E, capital I with a double N. Socio Eco In. Essentially, it's an abbreviation of the term, the subject matter around which we operate, which is socio-economic innovation. I'm going to do a nuts and bolts episode very shortly that kind of goes deeper on that topic. Other activity, started the recruitment and search for people to design the user interface and the user experience for the Enterprise Engine digital platform. And obviously that's an opportunity for anybody who's interested in it. But to expand on that a little, we're going to launch the Enterprise Engine with an event called Crank. Okay, Crank is an event that's being designed to launch the Enterprise Engine. But with respect to the UI and UX, it's going to be a competition. That's a strange point about competition, because I actually think competitions and fanfare in and around enterprise can be quite damaging to the culture. But I'm seeing it as a means to, firstly, curate user responses, and also to weed out or filter, probably more appropriate, preferred term, filter the best talent. Because it's a talent pool that we'd want to attract and keep for our resource base with as an organisation. So keep an eye out for Crank. We're obviously going to have a full campaign advertising it. But here's the thing, even if you're not a UX, UI person, that event, Crank, is going to be multifunctional. It will provide you with a lot of value as well. So when you attend the launch, there'll be a lot of value for you as a person, regardless of what you're doing. We're designing it to be very, very valuable. And it's a feature of E2 and the Enterprise Engine generally, is that we do seek optimum value in the platform services product we offer. Likewise, in that same vein, we're now looking to build our team of software engineer developers. And for those of you who are interested in that, I will give a kind of a layman's description of what the Enterprise Engine digital platform is and will do. So it's a web application optimized for mobile. I'm not going to go into programming languages or anything of that nature. You'll be up to speed with what are the most effective. It's a web application optimized for mobile. A interrelational applications platform. Put simply, multiple applications running off a single database, with each of the applications at one level or another interacting with the others to enrich the data that gets fed through each application. Okay, so that's been the focus of the week. Also speaking to sponsors, generally the Enterprise Engine platform itself is being developed into a major channel. Its function being to obviously promote everything that we do as an organisation. And one or two nuts and bolts episode, which you'll see. Now, in the last nuts and bolts episode, I mentioned the E2 principles. I kind of gave a description of what they are, and they're worth going to the E2 Foundation website to read the articles there. And they basically serve as a directive, guidelines, template for anybody who's engaged in positive social impact. And basically they serve as, if you wanted to adopt a culture, an ethos, and imbue your organisation and activities with it. Those are very, very useful principles to adhere to and imbue that culture with. And calling on that very same thing and putting it to use ourselves, drinking our own Kool-Aid, brings me to the topic of this episode, which is the E2 podcast. And I've mentioned it in passing in the nuts and bolts. Fundamentally, the aim is to have, let me be clear, it's our first product. It is the first product that we're selling in the marketplace, and intend to monetize is the American term. But we're using a franchise model to do it, and the intention is to have an E2 podcast in each of the UK's regions. Sorry, let me be more specific, counties. In each of the UK's counties, and I believe at the moment there are 83, there may be more, but I believe there are 83. And it's basically tapping into a widespread desire. And this is what we found surprising when we researched it, was that even in this age of multimedia, there is a widespread desire for regionally focused, high-grade media. I was so surprised that there was an initiative with a lot of funding that went into it a few years back, which was intended to bring these things alive and tap into this hyperlocal media niche, but for whatever reason it didn't catch on. I have my suspicions and confirmation of the reasons why. I'm not going to dwell there. This need is being met by the E2 podcast. Okay, obviously we have a mission and it partially serves that mission, but make no mistake, these are standalone profit-making enterprises. There is a blueprint and formatted blueprint for the profitable operation of a regionally focused podcast, and it's in depth. And so, if you're somebody who sees yourself as potentially being an ambassador for your county, step up, get in touch, and keep your ears and eyes open for the information about the E2 podcast. Let me expand on it a little bit. What we have discovered is that actually, if you have an existing business, this is an ideal platform from which to promote that business. And by business, I'm being quite broad. You could be anything from an author with your main product for your business being a books. Say you're an artisan cheesemaker or a musician. Those are all businesses with products and services that need promotion. If you have that, obviously that's your area of interest, or operations, enterprise. But as the host and owner of the regional or county podcast, that business you can use it as a promotional channel for your core business. Another thing we've discovered is teams with varying skills and interests among the team members. So a little collective of people who, as I say, have varying skills, different skill sets and varying interests. And the reason being is that rich mix can be brought to bear regardless of the topic. The overlays and the inputs from that mixed bag can be applied within any topic in any episode of a podcast. So teams, so it's worth thinking about. And I keep envisaging people of mixed age backgrounds and coming together and thinking we can do this. This is for us. And I'm hoping that teams of people who aren't necessarily wouldn't see themselves as podcasters take a look at this, because it really is something that collectives can collect around and be effective in. But not to lose sight of the fundamental value point of the E2 podcast. Local people are massively underinformed about where they are and what they live. And it can be applied to anybody, anywhere, because you tend to focus on the little things that make up your life And there are other areas that are grey and cloudy, you know kind of exist, but you don't know the specifics of. And other things that you would be very interested to know and know how to do and be a part of, met by how we've structured this format. And that is the saleable aspect of the E2 podcast, is the formats and formulas that constitute its blueprint for operations. So, entrepreneurs, potential entrepreneurs, business owners, is the E2 podcast for you? I believe it is. If you want to own your own business, make money, if you're interested in an exciting life, career in media, starting one or a shift or an extra element to an existing career, and you enjoy meeting interesting people and providing that service. You know, you've got the promotional component to it for yourself and anything you're doing, and any social causes you may have, and you make profit. But that key factor of providing service may be a fundamental appeal to you. And look, what we've essentially done is we've built the capacity to do all of those things into a single thing as part of its magic. On the topic, what county do you hail from? What would you like to know about the county? Who would you like to speak to within the county? What would you like? What topics of that you're passionate about, or you'd just like to know more about? Comment below. And at the same time, when you do, please do subscribe, because we'll be back here, and hopefully perfecting this format and making it more and more valuable as we go forward. And how to follow us on social. Okay, so there's Twitter, which is at E2Engineer. I'm personally on Twitter at Emil Emiabata. We're on Facebook at E2 Enterprise Engine. And you can email me, and here's a critical thing for the UX, UI and software developers I mentioned earlier. You can email me at emil@e2foundation.co.uk. And if you're a UI, UX candidate, it's probably the best term, title the email Crank UI/UX. And if you're a software developer, title the email E2Dev. And again to me at emil@e2foundation.co.uk. Okay, keep your eyes and ears peeled for the E2 podcast campaign. There'll be a lot about it, lots of information coming out, and give thought to whether for yourselves or who would be interested. There's another thing, I want to put an open call out here for anybody who's interested in videography, making videos, animation, and work of that nature. We're building a media platform here ourselves, and those skills are critical, for, as far as I'm concerned, for high grade media and making it impactful, entertaining and relevant. Big opportunity for those who are seeking to build a career in those areas. Again, contact me, emil@e2foundation.co.uk, and title that E2 Videography. E2 Videography. Okay? Obviously, I have to make it very clear so that we know exactly what you're talking about, and we'll pick that up and get back to you on all those topics. Okay, so that's me, Emil Emiabata, E2 Engineer 1. Now, what I find a lot is people come up to me and ask me, what is E2? What is the enterprise engine? And here's what I tell them. So it's not about technology necessarily. We utilise it, but it's not about technology. I'm the host and presenter, founder of a movement, but it's not about me. E2, the enterprise engine, is all about you. See you next time.